What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Amazing Dads podcast. I want to fill y'all in on a few things, what's been going on from the business side of things. First, I will let y'all know about the event that I was a partner of last month at the Spectrum Center. And also, I want to introduce a card game that I'm working on that I would hope to bring the generations in the household together. And I'll let y'all know on a couple of things that in the future that you can look forward to here on the podcast. All right, so let's get into it. So, the end of last month, I was a partner of a panel that was held at the Spectrum Center, and it was a very good learning experience, I will say, into how you should adapt to changes in a venue, changes, or very much like a more like a constraint in time management and how you would want your events to unfold, I would say. I will start with the good things that happened with the panel discussion as a partner of the panel itself that they had for fathers. It was a really good panel discussion that they had. They talked about mental health. They talked about um, legacy, and they pretty much talked about um, the challenges, well, of co-parenting or just parenting um, at different phases of your life, as far as like um, balancing, you know, parenting, children, running your business, things of that nature. The panel discussion was really good. The things that I will focus on in today's episode is pretty much the events that happened all around. I will say the actual event itself, in how this pretty much brought about the experience that I had from being a partner with this event that took place. So, to catch y'all up on how this came about, my wife found this event that's going on for fathers, and we felt that it would be a good opportunity for me to promote my business because it was dealing with fathers, get a chance to meet, be on the panel, and it will also give me opportunity to, market my business in some type of way, just so that I can draw more attention to my online store, to my YouTube channel, social media, anything of that nature. I took on the opportunity and I paid to be a partner with this event that was going on. And I will throw up on the screen for y'all to see the things that I was listed to have as being a partner. On Saturday, you know, the event space didn't have my logo up in the actual event space that the contract said. Um, my logo, not my logo, but my brand name wasn't really mentioned throughout the panel discussion that they had because due to time constraints. And um, I didn't get the VIP seating that we were so called supposed to have during the panel discussion, and I didn't get an opportunity to introduce my business, let's so to say, at the actual event of where the panel discussion that was being held. And I felt that, like, being a partner, I felt like I should have at least had the opportunity to do any of these things to introduce my business because, we had all the apparel on, all my people that was there with me, we were all matching, was like, yeah, we got the whole logo thing going on, Dope Dad Academy. We was all dripped out, but it didn't pan out in that way, um, due to some outside factors that the person that I was emailing had told me. Um, Even from the events that happened Friday night, it didn't really sit well with how I felt that Saturday was going to go. Um, so Saturday they invited the people that were partners and on the panel to come out to this bar hookah lounge to meet the other dads or fathers or even people that was on the panel, just to socialize and have a good time was what he said. And looking back on it, I felt that this wasn't, or this should not have been the ideal spot to have a night out with other fathers to come out to hang out. I felt that it should have been more of a family friendly spot where we could have brought our kids out and we could have had the kids play together, or we could have did something with the kids where we could have been a way for the fathers to mingle amongst ourselves, to talk and do more things, just to have a more formal introduction that could have been easier to have those conversations versus meet at a hookah lounge, a bar, a club type of setting. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic of what the father aspect is supposed to be upholding. If you get what I'm saying. That whole so that's a little bit of how Friday went. Um, but just how Friday went, it didn't really translate well to how Saturday was going to unfold. Oh, also, on with the Friday, well, so I'll tell you about that in a little bit later. Um, so like I said, with the actual event on Saturday, we were meant to come out there a little early. They didn't let us in so soon because the arena wasn't ready to let people in. People didn't get in till late, and the panel ended up starting a lot later than they intended. So time was not really on anybody's side. But even with that aspect, they should have been able to pivot to be able to fit more things in if they were more assertive in trying to get to pretty much trying to push things out, if you know what I mean. Um, they could have did their best in, let's say, if we have a guest speaker and he's on a time constraint, let's, if all my people for the panel discussion is already here, I want to go ahead and get them started. And then once my guest speaker comes in, I will then have him come in. He can talk. When there's a break within the panel discussion itself, when they move from one topic to the next, it's like, all right, guys, we gonna finish up this last little point. We gonna bring in our guest speaker, to talk. Any way where you can communicate with your people that, hey, we're trying to get all these things in here because we're on a time constraint. We want to make sure that we fit everything in because we don't want to shortchange y'all on anybody that paid to be a partner of that sense. That didn't happen. Okay. Having a guest speaker there, um, to do their part, and then they could have went back into the panel discussion because what originally happened was they started late. They had the guest speaker come in. The guest speaker spoke. They was able to ask the guest speaker questions. Cool. Guest speaker leaves. Then they had some other people introduce their businesses. I was not able to introduce my business at all, even though I paid to be a partner. And then they started the actual panel discussion after the other people got done introducing their stuff. I think it was only like 4 people that was able to do that, and I think in total they might have had about 9 partners. I believe they had their logo on there. No, it was actually 8 that was up there. 9 would have been mine, but my logo wasn't nowhere inside the actual event space where you can see it. Um, they had the panel discussion. but we was not able to ask any questions after the panel discussion was over. Okay, let that sink in. The guest speaker had questions asked. The panel discussion, maybe people were anticipating to wanting to ask more questions of, didn't get to ask questions because we're short on time. But they still had someone else, I think, who was a direct affiliate with the actual panel or the business that was hosting the event, that was in charge of the event. They came out and they had a whole talk about their whole thing that they was promoting next. That might have took like another 5 to 10 minutes. That could have been the whole questions that they could have had, and they could have had them go at the end or even outside. I don't know if that would have solved that issue, but they could have shorted. They could have shorted the other people that was trying to promote their stuff. They should have had a video for that stuff instead. Instead, let people that pay to be there to ask their questions. That's my thing. The panel discussion's over. We My group, we were able to network a little bit after that, just to pass out cards, promote our hoodies, t-shirts, anything of that nature, to the people that took interest in what we were wearing, because people did like the shirts that I made or that I had made. A Father's Rose Never Done with the infinity sign, with my logo, not my with my name on the bottom of the shirt, and also the Dope Dad Academy when I have my logo in the middle. That was another favorite. If y'all want to get that, make sure y'all go to my online store to get y'all a couple. I got all kind of colors, and just to let me know if you want a certain color that you're not able to get. Just let me know, and I make sure I put that color up there on the website for you. Okay. The After the panel was done and we networked as much as we could, we go find our seats for the games. The seats that I got for the package were cheap seats. They were pretty much in the nosebleeds. But we did not end up staying much longer at the game. We left at halftime because my dad was having allergic reaction to the dust in the seats. Not really to the seats, it was probably coming from the ceiling, and it was so much dust he couldn't even take it. Like his eyes was all puffy, he was sneezing, he couldn't take it. So I was like, we gotta go. I didn't want my dad to sit there, and in my mind, he was suffering for me just to watch the game. I wasn't really pressed about trying to sit there and watch the game. It was turned out to look like it was to be a good game, but it was just the Hornets and the Wizards, and the Wizards not really a team to be getting hyped about. But the Hornets was on the crazy win streak, so it would have been cool to see if they would have got that other win. But yeah, we dipped out early, and we went to a spot called Bang Bang Burgers afterwards. One of the best spots where I can get a burger from in Charlotte. If you ever in Charlotte, make sure y'all stop there and get you some. Bang Bang Burgers. Okay. Um, so that's pretty much how Friday and Saturday went, man. If that what I can tell y'all, it for being a partner, it wasn't, I think, the appropriate experience in my opinion, based on what I paid for it and based on what I was meant to have based on the email / contract that was given to me. And other than his response to the suggestions that I gave to y'all earlier in this episode, was pretty much saying that Friday night was meant to be just a hangout spot, and it wasn't really nothing that I guess they wanted to promote too much of, because I don't know. My thing was just that I probably shouldn't have even went out there, but I was under the impression that, hey, I can come out here and talk to some of the other guys who are in these higher positions where I can probably get some insight on what I can do for my business to help it grow. Wasn't able to do that. And that's not necessarily what I paid for Friday night. I didn't pay for Friday. I paid for Saturday to happen. But Saturday still ain't happened. You know what I mean? So Saturday, his response to that was it's not normally how our panels go, just because the time change that happened because of the the change in maybe the venue or where we were supposed to have it. But my thing is just that if you are getting a time change or you getting a time reduction on how much time you have to even host your event, also even with the place change, you still would want to be the first, if not one of the first few people to be at the venue so you can tell your other people who's supposed to be there where to go, what to do next, or what's about to happen next. We had to find out from people that work at the arena of what to even do. And we were telling people behind us, like, hey, they're not ready for us to come in here yet. We're about to go over here to this hotel because we're not staying out here in the cold. And if I'm in charge of an event and someone else is telling my people where to go because I'm not there to, lead lead the group, that's not gonna look good on me. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just my whole thing is just that there was no, it's like he just let things happen the way they wanted to happen just because there was no way that he could even for one make it better, or he felt like there was no need to make anything better. And I don't think that there's no excuse as to why, you let these certain things just slip through the cracks, as far as like, yeah, they paid this amount of money, but we gonna still just do this, we'll still do the panel and whatnot, but we'll worry about the other stuff later. And it's like we got brushed off to the side, but we paid all this money to be here. What if this is like my last bit of money that I have, or last opportunity I had to even be a part of this event, hoping that it's gonna be a break for my business, and I don't get that chance. I'm pretty much out of the money. Like I said, this was an experience, and it was an awakening as to how I will run my events, how I will make sure my events are upheld to a very high standard, better quality, um, just overall being more proactive in my approach to things, making sure I communicate with my people or even anyone that decides to be a partner with me. Um, oh yeah, and also dealing with how he said how Friday went. His response to that was that I should have been more assertive in trying to introduce myself to the guys so that they could have welcomed me with open arms, and Saturday could have probably went a lot better for me. But my thing was, shouldn't you be doing that same deal? Like, if I'm hosting an event and let's say I reserve a table at a spot that I'm inviting people to come out to, and people are coming in, they're sitting at my table. I don't know who these people are, or you're not even paying attention to who these people are. If you're paying attention, if you are, you will notice like, hey, some people coming and sitting at my table. Let me go find out who these people are, just so that I know who they are and I make sure they're supposed to be here with us. Does that make more sense instead of me saying, I meet a partner, I gotta go find the person that's in charge of this thing so that I know I'm in the right spot. Like when we got to the spot on Friday, we asked the people that worked there, it's like, hey, we're here for this event. Where do we go? They're like, oh yeah, it's here at this table. Okay, cool. So we're thinking we're in the right spot, but the people that's in charge who actually reserved the table don't know that we're supposed to be there at that spot. But like I said, like Friday, maybe we shouldn't have came out there. Maybe might have made Saturday go differently. I don't know, but I'm just saying that just for formal introductions, those could have been made, for one, better on his part, maybe a little bit better on my part as well. Like, I could have find out who he was, look him up somewhere, Facebook, social media, Instagram, anything like that, just so I can find out like who this person is, so I have a name with a face, so I know who to look for whenever I go to, these events. And he could have did the same thing. I gave him a whole bio, who I was, my name, my business name, and a bio. He could have did just as much as I could have did. So there's no excuse really on his part as to what he could have did to make sure that he knew who I was as well. So don't try to make it a one-way street. That's pretty much my take on what happened with the event that I went to on at the end of January at the Spectrum Center. Oh yeah, and disclaimer: I do not want to reveal, or I don't want to put a negative, annotation on the business who I partnered with. I just want to talk about my own experience, and my experience may not have been the same for other people that might have not, that probably was not a partner. Maybe someone who got a chance to introduce their business, their experience was obviously a lot better than mine's. So I'm only speaking from my own personal experience, and even the people that who were there with me can speak on how we felt our experience was at the event, and based on the things that we were supposed to be given based on the contract that was made out. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I have to say about that. Um, and we move on into the next thing. So the card game that is coming up, I am calling the game Generational Gap, or Generation Gap. It's a card game where I am having the parents go against the children in the household, because I want there to be more interaction between but be more interaction with the families, and I want there to be more openness, more vulnerability, and I just want there to be some type of communication that's held aside from a phone, and aside from a passing by saying, "Hey, what's up?" or "Hey." Um, I want there to be some, playfulness within it. I want there to be some realizations with parents and children. Maybe this game reveals some things about the parents that the kids did not know. Maybe this will reveal some things about the kids that the parents didn't know. Um, I don't want you to be scared to play this game. I want you to play this game with an open mind, and I want you to be more open when you play this game. Um, I know in some households it could be some closed off aspects of it. Maybe your kids a little bit older, they're doing more things on their own. Maybe they're a lot in sports and they don't have the time, to even do things with their parents. And I get all that, I understand all that, but still, the same reason that anybody's making an effort to go to work, people are making an effort to pick up, go to school, do homework, put food on the table. If it's one thing that you cannot ask for back, it's time. You can't ask for it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And I don't want, you know, parents or even children to regret the time that they could have had to spend with their children, or even the time that the children could have spent with their parents. The conversation that could have been had, the more interactions that could have been had, that could have opened up your children's eyes, or even the parents' eyes, to their parents' world, to their child's world, just so that everyone could have a more clear understanding of what everyone is going through. Kids not telling the parents not telling the kids things, and they're thinking that's because they are protecting each other from whatever. I'm pretty sure that's the reason, because they don't want to be judged by anyone. And the house should be a safe space. The house should be the space where the children can come, not go to their friends on serious issues that kids don't know anything about. I don't know if this game is going to make anyone cry. I don't know if this game is going to make anyone upset. I hope it doesn't. I just hope that this game challenges the barriers that you have within your household, so that the lines of communication are more open, they're more free, and they're more easy to have the conversations that maybe both parties are more needed of. Make the most of every opportunity you have to play with your children, be with your children, share the things that you want for your children, teach them the things they need to know for the future, have those conversations, make the time. If you can make time to do whatever it is that you want to do, think about how much time you are taking away from the time you could be spending with your own children. All right. Well, I believe that this will be the conclusion of today's podcast. I'm sorry that I might have made this a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I believe that it was something that needed to be had. While you're sitting at home listening to this podcast, hope you share with someone else that needs to hear it. Um, I hope that, you as a person are making the strides to be the best version of yourself that you possibly can make. I hope that you're doing everything necessary to secure to leave a future for your children, and everything works out in your favor. So until next time, we'll make sure that y'all have a blessed one. Y'all stay up, like, comment, subscribe, share, anything good to make the algorithm good for my YouTube channel. Do it. All right. Until next episode, y'all take care. Peace.